Welcome to World Changers Top, the channel where we explore the lives, teachings, and legacies of extraordinary individuals who transformed the world. Today, we embark on a journey through the life and wisdom of Siddhartha Gautama, also known as the Buddha, the Enlightened One. From his beginnings as a prince to his profound spiritual awakening, the Buddha's teachings on compassion, mindfulness, and inner peace continue to inspire millions. Join us as we uncover his remarkable story, timeless lessons, and how his wisdom resonates in today's world. Stay tuned for an insightful and transformative exploration of one of history's most revered figures, the life and teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Enlightened One. Siddhartha Gautama, known as the Buddha or the Enlightened One, is one of the most revered figures in history. His teachings form the foundation of Buddhism, a spiritual path that emphasizes the cessation of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. Through his journey from a privileged prince to an enlightened teacher, Siddhartha's life provides timeless lessons on compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of truth. 1. Early life, a prince in luxury. Siddhartha Gautama was born around 563 BCE in Lumbini, in what is now modern-day Nepal, into the Sakya clan. His father, King Suddhodana, ruled the small but prosperous kingdom of Kapilavastu. Siddhartha's mother, Queen Maya, passed away shortly after his birth. Legend holds that she dreamt of a white elephant entering her womb, symbolizing Siddhartha's divine destiny. Siddhartha grew up surrounded by wealth and comfort. His father, wanting to shield him from the hardships of life, confined him to the palace and ensured he experienced only pleasure and luxury. He was surrounded by music, fine clothing, and sumptuous food. At the age of 16, Siddhartha married Yasodhara, and they soon had a son named Rahula. Despite his privileged life, Siddhartha felt an emptiness that material pleasures could not fill. His soul yearned for answers to life's deeper questions. Why do people suffer? What is the purpose of life? These questions would eventually lead him on a transformative journey. 2. The Four Encounters, a life-changing revelation. Siddhartha's journey toward enlightenment began with four pivotal encounters that shattered his perception of reality. These encounters are foundational to understanding his awakening. The Old Man. Siddhartha saw an elderly man for the first time, realizing that aging was inevitable for everyone. The Sick Man. He encountered a person afflicted with disease, learning that illness is a part of human existence. The Corpse. Witnessing a funeral procession, he understood the inescapable reality of death. The Ascetic Monk. Finally, Siddhartha saw a wandering ascetic who had renounced worldly life in search of spiritual truth. The monk's serene demeanor inspired Siddhartha to pursue a similar path. These encounters revealed the impermanence and suffering inherent in life, compelling Siddhartha to leave behind his royal life in search of answers. 3. The Great Renunciation, leaving the palace. At the age of 29, Siddhartha made the bold decision to renounce his princely life. One night, he silently left the palace, abandoning his wife, son, and all material possessions. This act, known as the Great Renunciation, marked the beginning of his journey toward enlightenment. Dressed in simple robes, Siddhartha sought guidance from the foremost spiritual teachers of his time. He learned profound meditation techniques and practiced asceticism, enduring extreme physical hardships to discipline his body and mind. For 6 years, he subjected himself to severe fasting and self-mortification, believing that it would lead to spiritual liberation. However, Siddhartha realized that extreme asceticism was not the answer. Weak and near death, he accepted a bowl of rice milk from a young woman named Sujata. This act of compassion rejuvenated him, and he resolved to pursue the middle way, a path of balance between indulgence and self-denial. 4. Enlightenment, the turning point. At the age of 35, Siddhartha sat beneath a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, India, vowing not to rise until he had discovered the ultimate truth. For days, he meditated deeply, confronting his fears and desires. According to Buddhist tradition, he was tempted by Mara, the demon of illusion, who tried to distract him with visions of fear, desire, and doubt. Unmoved by Mara's temptations, Siddhartha reached a state of profound realization. He understood the nature of suffering and the path to its cessation, attaining enlightenment. From that moment, Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha, or the Awakened One. The Buddha's enlightenment revealed the Four Noble Truths, which form the foundation of Buddhism. The truth of suffering. Dukkha. Life is marked by suffering, dissatisfaction, and impermanence. The truth of the cause of suffering. Samadhi. Craving and attachment are the root causes of suffering. The truth of the cessation of suffering. Nirodha. Liberation from suffering is possible by overcoming craving. The truth of the path. Magga. The Eightfold Path leads to the cessation of suffering. The Eightfold Path is a practical guide to ethical living, mental discipline, and wisdom. It includes right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. 5. Teaching the Dharma, spreading the truth. Following his enlightenment, the Buddha spent the next 45 years traveling across northern India, teaching the Dharma, truth, to people of all backgrounds. His first sermon, delivered at Deer Park in Sarnath, introduced the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. This sermon is known as the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, or the Setting the Wheel of Dharma in Motion. The Buddha's teachings were revolutionary. He rejected the rigid caste system of his time, emphasizing that enlightenment was attainable by anyone, regardless of social status. His message of compassion, mindfulness, and self-discipline resonated deeply, attracting a diverse following of monks, nuns, and lay people. 6. Inspiring stories from the Buddha's life. The life of the Buddha is rich with stories that illustrate his wisdom and compassion. One notable story is that of Angulimala, a feared bandit who had killed countless people. When the Buddha encountered Angulimala, he spoke words of kindness and truth, leading the bandit to abandon his violent ways and become a devoted monk. This story demonstrates the transformative power of compassion and forgiveness. Another famous story is the parable of the mustard seed. A grieving mother, Siddhartha Gautama, came to the Buddha, seeking a way to bring her dead child back to life. The Buddha instructed her to find a mustard seed from a household untouched by death. As she searched, Siddhartha Gautama realized that death is universal, and this realization helped her come to terms with her loss. 7. The later years, guiding a community. After attaining enlightenment, the Buddha dedicated his life to spreading the Dharma. Traveling on foot across the vast plains of northern India, he gathered a community of followers, known as the Sangha. This community included monks, nuns, and lay people who were committed to living according to the Buddha's teachings. During these years, the Buddha provided guidance on how to live a life of virtue and mindfulness. He emphasized the importance of the three jewels: the Buddha, the teacher; the Dharma, the teachings; and the Sangha, the community. The Buddha taught through stories, analogies, and parables, making profound spiritual truths accessible to people from all walks of life. One of the most well-known analogies he used was the simile of the raft, where he explained that the Dharma is like a raft used to cross a river. Once you reach the other shore, you should leave the raft behind, rather than cling to it. This lesson emphasizes that teachings are tools for liberation, not doctrines to be rigidly attached to. 8. The final journey and parinirvana. As the Buddha grew older, he continued teaching with unwavering dedication, despite physical ailments. At the age of 80, during his final journey, the Buddha became gravely ill after eating spoiled food offered by a devoted follower. Despite his condition, he comforted his disciples, emphasizing the impermanence of all things and encouraging them to rely on the Dharma as their guide. The Buddha's final words to his followers were, "All conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence." He then entered parinirvana, the ultimate state of liberation beyond the cycle of birth. death, and rebirth. This event marked the end of the Buddha's physical presence, but not the end of his teachings, which continued to spread far and wide. 9. The spread of Buddhism. After the Buddha's passing, his disciples worked tirelessly to preserve and propagate his teachings. The Dharma began to spread beyond India, adapting to the cultures and traditions of the regions it reached. Several key milestones contributed to the global spread of Buddhism. The First Buddhist Council, 483 BCE, held shortly after the Buddha's death. This council compiled his teachings into a canon, ensuring their preservation. Emperor Ashoka, 3rd century BCE, one of the most significant figures in Buddhist history. Emperor Ashoka of the Maurya Empire converted to Buddhism and promoted its principles of nonviolence and compassion. He sent missionaries to Sri Lanka, Central Asia, and Southeast Asia, spreading Buddhism far beyond India's borders. The Silk Road. Buddhism traveled along the Silk Road, influencing cultures in Central Asia, China, Korea, and Japan. Monks carried scriptures and relics, establishing monasteries and temples wherever they went. Southeast Asia and Tibet. Buddhism flourished in countries like Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Laos, where it became deeply integrated into their cultural and spiritual identities. In Tibet, Buddhism developed unique traditions, such as Vajrayana, under the influence of tantric practices. Today, Buddhism is practiced by hundreds of millions of people worldwide, continuing to inspire through its timeless teachings. 10. The legacy of Siddhartha Gautama. The Buddha's legacy is not just a set of religious doctrines, but a universal philosophy that transcends time and place. His teachings on mindfulness, compassion, and the cessation of suffering resonate deeply with people of all faiths and backgrounds. Key aspects of his enduring legacy include mindfulness practices. The Buddha introduced mindfulness as a way to cultivate awareness and presence in the moment. This practice has gained immense popularity in modern psychology and wellness, helping people manage stress and anxiety. Ethical living. The Buddha's emphasis on the 5 precepts, avoiding harm, stealing, lying, intoxication, and sexual misconduct, offers a practical guide for ethical living. Interdependence. His teachings on the interconnectedness of all things have influenced environmental and social movements, encouraging respect for the planet and all living beings. 11. Inspiring stories from Buddhism. The life of the Buddha and the history of Buddhism are filled with stories that continue to inspire. The Monkey King's sacrifice. In one tale, the Buddha, in a previous life, was a monkey king who saved his troop by forming a bridge with his own body. This story highlights the virtues of selflessness and leadership. The lotus flower analogy. The Buddha compared the human mind to a lotus flower growing in muddy water. Just as the lotus rises above the mud to bloom in purity, so can individuals rise above their challenges to achieve enlightenment. The blind men and the elephant. This parable illustrates how partial perspectives can lead to misunderstanding. The Buddha used it to teach the importance of seeing the whole truth and avoiding dogmatism. 12. Imagining Siddhartha Gautama in the 21st century. If Siddhartha Gautama lived today, how would he share his teachings in our fast-paced digital world? It's fascinating to imagine how the Buddha's timeless wisdom might be applied to contemporary issues. Mental health advocacy. With the rise of mental health challenges, the Buddha might advocate for mindfulness-based stress reduction, guiding people to find inner peace amidst life's pressures. Social media and connection. The Buddha could use social media platforms to spread his message of compassion and mindfulness, countering the negativity often found online. Imagine a daily mindfulness tip from the Buddha on Twitter or a calming meditation video on YouTube. Environmental stewardship. The Buddha's teachings on interdependence and non-harm would make him a powerful voice for sustainability and conservation efforts, inspiring collective action to protect the planet. Conflict resolution. In a world often divided by politics, religion, and ideology, the Buddha's emphasis on dialogue and understanding could offer a path to reconciliation and unity. 13. the timeless relevance of the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha's teachings continue to hold profound relevance in our modern lives. Whether it's cultivating mindfulness, practicing compassion, or seeking wisdom, his guidance offers a way to navigate the complexities of the 21st century with grace and clarity. As we reflect on his journey from a prince to an enlightened teacher, we are reminded that true fulfillment comes not from external possessions but from inner transformation. The Buddha's life is a testament to the power of self-discovery and the boundless potential for growth and enlightenment within us all. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the life and teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. If his story and wisdom have inspired you, please like, comment, and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to World Changers Top for more in-depth explorations of history's most transformative figures. Let us know in the comments which topic or figure you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, stay mindful, compassionate, and inspired.